Could YouTube kill capitalism? What a ridiculous question, right? YouTube is owned by Google, which is maybe the most powerful corporation in the world. It's a triumph of capitalism. Well, maybe. If we listen to philosopher Walter Benjamin, we'll learn how YouTube represents a seismic shift in the meaning and distribution of art. We'll see how it places people in the driver's seat more than any platform before it. It could be the dawn of a new, liberated era, or it could be the end of the world. Let me explain. I know that sounds ridiculous and hyperbolic and nonsensical, but it's not. I promise. Benjamin was brilliant, and his essay, The Work of Art in the Age of Mechanical Reproduction, is more relevant now than ever. In order to see where I'm coming from, we need to study some history. And history is boring for a lot of people. I get it. But everybody needs to hear this. The fate of the world could be at stake. So, how can I hook you? Benjamin said, film was more about distraction than contemplation. And that's even truer for YouTube. So, how about a corny effect? Let's hop in the time machine. If you took a picture of God, would it kill him? Benjamin might say, yes. According to him, the earliest works of art were cult objects.
You've probably heard of Scientology.
Not that kind of cult. Or that one.
I'll tell you about a kingdom level beyond here, and if you want to go there, then you have to follow me because I'm the guy who's got the key at the moment.
Or that one. The word cult comes from the Latin cultus, which means care, cultivation, or worship. Art was originally religious in its meaning. I'm talking about statues of gods, frescoes in churches, and so forth. Its exhibition came second, if at all. Benjamin points out that certain statues of gods are accessible only to the priest in the inner chamber of the Greek or Roman temple. Certain Madonnas remain covered nearly all year round. Certain sculptures on medieval cathedrals are invisible to the spectator on the ground level. Art like this doesn't care if you see it. What matters is that it exists. This art was part of ritual. Gradually, though, the exhibition value of art increased. Cult, in the classical sense, is replaced by the cult of beauty during the Renaissance. Educated and powerful people had the privilege of viewing and assessing the work that defined and articulated their culture. What all art had in common, though, is its uniqueness, its location in space and time, its context and its connection to tradition that makes up the fabric of civilization. This is what Benjamin calls its aura. No, not that kind of aura. Actually, it sort of is. See, Benjamin was a Marxist, and Marx thought that culture, including all politics, law, morality, religion, and so forth, was a superstructure built on the true mover of history: modes of production, economic factors, and class struggle. Works of art are the most sublime representations of politics, law, morality, and religion, all that stuff that makes up the superstructure. Their aura created a distance which shielded them from the masses, just like the fat cats who owned the factories were shielded from their laborers, or feudal lords from the subjects they exploited. But then photography came along and everything changed. Before photographs, you might have read about the Mona Lisa or even seen a sketch in a book. But these were descriptions, approximations, not copies. The chasm between the Mona Lisa and a peasant like you was still fully intact. But you've got a camera, so go ahead, go to the Louvre, find the Mona Lisa, snap a selfie, do it. Do you know what you've done? You've shattered its aura. Now it's on your Instagram account, and anyone in the world can see it. You've just thrown a Molotov cocktail into the superstructure. Now everyone's doing it. Now it's burning. Now it's collapsed. The masses are rising. They realize it's all a show. Now there's a revolution. It's total anarchy. You've killed God. Good job. Okay, maybe you didn't. But if you did, Walter Benjamin would say, that's a good thing. He saw photography as a revolutionary medium, and film, in which 24 photographs flash by us at every second, is photography on steroids. We could speed things up or slow them down. We could get closer to an image than we ever could with the naked eye. It helped us see things differently. It enhanced our perception, but it did something bigger, even more important, and potentially more catastrophic. A few centuries back, most of us were illiterate. But the wide circulation of newspapers turned more and more people into writers. In Benjamin's day, pretty much anyone who picked up a pen had the potential of becoming published. They could, for example, write letters to the editor, op-ed articles, or announcements in the bulletin for their local church or union. Film is the same way. The very idea that some girl from Iowa could go to Hollywood, get discovered, and become a movie star was an entirely new phenomenon.
And I can't deny the fact that you like me. Right now, you like me.
When we're talking about Picasso, the original is important. So that's traditional art, but what about a movie? Would you rather have the raw film on which they shot it or a special edition Blu-ray? There really is no original when it comes to film. And let's listen to what Benjamin says about Soviet cinema. Some of the players whom we meet in Russian films are not actors in our sense, but people who portray themselves, and primarily in their own work process. Does that sound like any platform today? Maybe one you're watching right now? Most really successful YouTubers are portraying themselves. The process of democratization of art when it came to film, well, it was still incomplete. The equipment and specialized skill needed to use it provided a barrier for entry. But today, anyone with a camera can have an audience. The masses have a louder voice than ever before. Everyone can be a creator, or in Benjamin's language, an artist. And everyone can be a critic.
My disappointment is immeasurable, and my day is ruined.
If film enhanced our perception, just imagine what YouTube can do. But there's a catch. We're able to produce more and more with each passing day. Technology is hurtling along at an unprecedented pace. How will this productive power be used?
And if you're talking to aliens, you're like, how did that happen? Do you guys know what football is? You'd have to explain football. You'd have to go, football is the great American pastime. And what it is our #1 sport. We take the biggest super athletes and we pat them up. It's all about moving the ball across the line, okay? The ball goes across that line, everybody gets pumped because that means we scored. But if the ball goes across that line, everybody gets really sad because that means they scored, okay? So more people watch football than vote for president. It's our #1 thing.
We have the possibility of filling airplanes with food and dropping it on every starving community on the planet. With the internet, anyone can learn anything they want, provided they have the time and the inclination. Is that what we're doing? Hardly. Benjamin says there's another possibility, and it sucks. Unless we're using this technology in a revolutionary manner for the betterment of humankind, abolishing the distinction between the haves and have-nots, our energies will be channeled into destructive ends. All of this new production power has to go somewhere. The more production power, the more energy needs to be channeled. And if we don't channel it toward peace, it's going to war. Benjamin's essay was published in 1935, 10 years before the atom bombs were dropped on Hiroshima and Nagasaki. We're at the very beginning of these new developments. If Benjamin is right and our better angels don't prevail, just imagine what could happen if our technological power was applied to destruction. Yeah, it's not pretty, but Benjamin is wrong. Base doesn't precede superstructure, and God guides history. Don't believe me? Check out the article in the description. Like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.